Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy midweek. Sandy here. Welcome back to my weekly 5-minute faith life blog. Just took a bite of a little taco here. It's spicy and I was still chewing. Sorry. Have you ever found yourself in a situation and then after the situation passes, you are sort of ruminating on it? You aren't sure if you handled it the best way. Worse, you think it could come back and bite you in the ass. Even though it hasn't proven itself to bite you in the ass, you acknowledge that it knocked you down a couple pegs. And, no one likes that state of uncertainty if they handled it the best way, if it's going to come back to get them. If you look at it from a biblical perspective, and I try to, there's lessons in there. If there's something you find yourself in a state of regret over, did it have anything to do with practicing a non-virtue? Did it have anything to do with lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, or AKA laziness, wrath, anger, right? Envy, pride? Did any of that play a part in the situation that you now regret? On the flip side, we know what the sins are. We know what the virtues are, which are just the opposite of the sins. Chastity or abstinence, discipline, generosity, diligence, kindness, humility. What would be the opposite of envy? I feel like I already said that. I guess you could almost say admiration. But we also have 7 gifts. Were any of these part of your state of regret? Because maybe they weren't. Were you practicing wisdom, understanding? Were you following good counsel, like guidelines and standards that you normally should? Fortitude, knowledge, piety, fear of God. I think if you're being really honest with yourself and you find yourself in a situation that you regret, it is because you just weren't following biblical principles. Again, the good news in that is, once you can get really honest with yourself in what you failed to do, now you've learned a lesson. And it might still come back to get you, but you've learned a lesson. There's something to be said for humility. If it's genuine humility, people can forgive those sins. If they sense that you're genuinely remorseful, if you're genuinely willing to humble yourselves before them. Not just for the sake of forgiveness, but because you actually recognize you're wrong. It's true repentance. So that thing that could bite you in the rear end maybe can be looked past. Maybe there could be some other corrective action before just cutting off altogether. Obviously, something is a catalyst behind this morning's thought process. Rather than just being stuck in a state of regret and, telling everyone that'll listen your side of the story and just trying to justify yourself, just acknowledge where you failed in virtue, acknowledge where you engaged in sinful behavior, maybe not even intentionally, not even from a malicious standpoint, but more just from, sort of a lazy, didn't want to be bothered standpoint even. If you can acknowledge the gifts that God has given us and that you just, for whatever reason, don't want to engage in a particular heat of a moment, a split-second decision you make, you have to own that. You have to take accountability and bring it before God. I recognize it. I see it. I went astray. I don't want to go astray anymore. Getting knocked down a few pegs is a good thing. It's a necessary thing. It's necessary to bring us to this state of humility, to bring us to acknowledgement and understanding of the error of our own ways and how we want to move forward past it, smarter, kinder, and just better equipped to handle it the next time. I don't know. I feel like I was rambling today, but that's okay. Perhaps you can relate to something I said. Feel free to leave me a comment. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope I see you next week, not for my glory, but for God's. God bless.